3 minutes. Oh, perfect. Yes, put in the chat where you're joining us from. Wow, I have people from South Sudan. I have someone from Lamu in Kenya, Lagos, Nigeria, Mina, Nigeria. That's good. Lagos, Nigeria. Okay, wonderful. Winnie, how is South Sudan today?
Yes, sir. Good evening. It's well. We're
Good
doing
evening.
quite well. Yes, please.
That's very good. That's very good. Okay, so I believe for those of us that were not here last time, we were able to go through the recording of what we did last week. Basically, last week was just to introduce to us what Power BI is really all about, and we were able to talk about Power BI, the ecosystem, Power BI service, Power BI desktop, installing Power BI, and everything. We also were able to go through the interface of Power BI. We were able to do all of that last week. So today, based on what we have already planned for today, we are going to be working on drum roll. We're going to be working on understanding data in analytics. So I'm going to be sharing my screen in a few seconds. Please, when you see my screen, just put in SS in the chat box if and when you see my screen. While we wait for others to join, so let's prepare everything we need to prepare, and then let's start our class. So let's do this. So boom, boom, boom. Okay, so I have just shared my screen right about now. So can I get a confirmation that everyone can see my screen? That is very, very perfect. That is good. Okay, now I think we gave time already. We gave 5 minutes, right? And I think it's good if we start immediately. I do want us to give more time for others to join. Okay. Perfecto. Okay, so we have 18 people on the call, 20 something. Okay, I think people are already joining in already. Should we start now? Okay, so let's do that. Let's start then. So good evening everyone, and you're welcome to today's. Okay, I should give 2 minutes. Okay, I think if we are just 20 here, then I think that will make it easier. I think I'll start with 20 people on the call, while every other person will join. I think we have close to 100 people on the WhatsApp group, and we envision that at least 10%. We envision that 10% would be okay. Oh, somebody joined and left. Okay. Okay. Yeah, 2 minutes is up. So let's go. So today we're going to be discussing about understanding what data really is all about in analytics. Now, we are all here to learn about Power BI, and Power BI is a very, very popular tool with data analyst. It's one of the tools that we use in data analytics. And since if you hear me, I'm just saying data analytics, data analytics, data analytics, right? So it's very important that we understand what data is, how to read data. We understand the principles of rows, columns, what tables are. We understand at the initial stage what a clean data is, what a messy data is, and everything around all that, the importance of it, the effect of it where we don't have it. Everything is what we are going to be discussing today. Like I told you that this series is going to be a series which is starting from the basics. So we are starting everything from the basics on assumption of someone who does not know anything about data analytics, right? For you who have actually maybe have one or two idea about analytics before now, I'm very sure there will be some new things that you're going to be learning and unlearning and relearning. So let's dive in without wasting much of our time. So I remain my humble self, Abdullah Relu Bankole. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm also a certified data analyst and also a business intelligence data analyst associate. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be talking about what data really is in analytics. We're going to be talking about rows, columns, tables, how each and every one of them fits together. We're going to be talking about clean data and messy data. And we're also going to be talking about how we inspect data before we start our visualization or analysis. Then we're going to have the key takeaways and question and answer period once we are done with everything we want to do today. So let's proceed. So let's start with what data is, right? Now, before now, when we were growing up, we have this notion. If you ask the question, what is data? What comes to our mind is that data is processed information. I'm sorry, data is unprocessed information, and information is processed data, right? Yes and no. So basically, data are raw facts. They are figures, they are numbers, they are words, they are texts, they are images. And in my own classroom, I give a good definition to say data is everything and anything. Everything you can think of, everything you know of, everything you can speak of, everything you can talk about, every single thing is a data point. So now in analysis, basically, we usually work with just few types of data, numbers, text, dates, but it is way more than that. Music, audio data, videos, visual data, pictures, images, JSON, geographical data, your fingerprint data, your biological data, right? Different types of data. Data is everywhere. But for the purpose of this class beginner stage, I'm just going to be talking about some major types, which are numbers, texts, dates, and I give examples there. So one thing you need to know is that your data is the primary thing, is the primary source. If your data is bad at the starting point, every other thing is going to be bad. So you need to understand that it's actually like your ingredients when you're cooking. So before you cook that very good jollof rice, right? That's Nigerian jollof rice that beats the Ghanaian one. What do? You need to get all the ingredients for you to make the jollof rice, isn't it? You need to get your rice, whether it's basmati rice, whether it's foreign rice, whether it's the Nigerian local rice, whether it's ofada rice you want to use to prepare it. You need to get it, right? You need to get your tomato, right? You need to get your pepper. You need to get your meat. You need to get your omiero, right? You need to get your, what else do you put in jollof rice? I can't remember now. Okay, salt. What else? What else? What else do you put in jollof rice? Can somebody tell me what else we put in jollof rice? I think I've said everything, right? Oh, you put Maggi. Okay, yeah, we put Maggi. We put Maggi, we put curry. What about time? Do you put time in jollof rice? Are you sure we put time in jollof rice? Are you sure you are not spoiling the data for jollof rice? Okay, yeah, you put bay leaves. Yes, that it depends on whatever you are. But what if I want to do that? There's this popular one, smoky jollof rice. There's smoky jollof rice, right? That one I don't think you use. Do you use bay leaf in smoky jollof rice? So, but all of the above, you get all these ingredients. So all these ingredients that you are getting, they are the main data for you to actually do what? For you to cook the jollof rice. So in the same way, for example, if you look at the example I gave, I'm very, very passionate about my example so that we can all relate with them. So we have numbers, numerical data, which is a very, very common type of data, right? So it could be 1,250. It could be numbers in terms of decimal. They could be in terms of the way they are written like this, with currency, without a currency. But so far you are seeing numbers and you can read the numbers. They are separated by comma. They are basically numbers, right? Then we have text, textual data or strings. So this comprises of the letters of the alphabet that we know, including the space, including special characters, space, comma, minus, all those things. When you put all of them together, they form textual data. So sometimes your textual data might not only be name like this I are saying. So take note of it. For example, let's say you have a car plate number, right? So in a car plate number is not only numbers that are there, and it's not only letters, it's alphanumeric in nature. So you need to understand that textual data does not necessarily mean alphabet of the um, alphabet of the what? Alphabet of the English language or any language. Another thing you should note about it is that I have a rule of thumb that says any number that I cannot perform arithmetic operations on. Listen now. Any number that you cannot perform arithmetic operations on, that number is better left as text. Any number that you cannot perform arithmetic operations on, the number is best left as text. Can somebody give me an example of such numbers? Numbers that you can't perform arithmetic operations on, that you can see them as numbers, but you cannot add them together. Can somebody give me examples? One of them is looking at us right now. Nobody knows. Yes, date. So, but not date. Date is a data type. They can just say something like year, right? The year is currently 2026. Last year was 2025. So, can I add 2026 and 2025 together? No. Can I find the average of 2026 and 2025 together? No. Yeah, somebody said phone number. Perfect. Phone numbers are all true letters, right? They're all true numbers. But can I add my number and your number together? No. So use that exactly. So all those examples you are giving me, examination number, passport no passport number is alphanumeric, and every other number, registration number, or something IDs, anything ID or anything number, that they are fully only numbers. It's better left them as text, because you will see why when we go to Power BI, because Power BI has a way of trying to perform a form of aggregation on stuff that you have said to be numbers. So it's not its fault, it's just it's being smart. So you need to take note of that as well. So we've talked about numbers, we've talked about text. The next one is about dates. Now, dates are one of the most important, most confusing type of data. And you need to be very, very, very careful. You need to be what? Very, very careful of your dates. So usually what I've written now, I have the year, month, day format, which is the year 2023, the day, the month, that is 10th, that is October, and 15 is the day, the 15th of October 2023. Now, usually Power BI, Power BI automatically works. Power BI works with your what? Power BI works with the Power BI works with the date, the way your date is set on your computer. The way your date is set on your computer, that is how Power BI works. So you need to confirm the way your date is set on your computer. So to do that, just go down to where you have your what's it called? Where you have your time. So where you have your time, you go there, and once you have gone there, you will see the way your date is written. You see the date, you see the time. So that is the format that Power BI is also going to borrow. I need to make sure that any type of data you're even bringing in into the computer as well, that type of data too should try as much as possible to follow that date. Later, when we are going in class, as we are proceeding, we are also going to be seeing how to properly format dates, how to change date format, and every other thing as regards dates. Today is just for us to understand all these basic things before we start mounting upon them. Please, I hope we are following everyone. Are we understanding what data is now? Do we understand the types of data that we have now? Perfect, good. So let's go from there. So now, so data, moving from data. So when we have data, when we are now working with them in the Power BI, basically. So Power BI works with tables, right? Power BI works with tables, and these tables are the things that actually make your data readable and ready for analysis. So you need to understand that whatever you're going to be working with on Power BI has to be represented in a tabular form. So whatever you're going to be working with on Power BI has to be represented on Power Form, on a tabular form. So a table is basically just the way we have an Excel sheet where that data is actually organized in form of rows and columns. So if you look at my definitions, you can see I already make it very, very simple. Your columns are the vertical part of your data. And this is exactly what we are measuring. What we are measuring is what is going to be in the column side, or the data points that we want to get. Are you following? The data points that we want to get, or what it is that we are measuring, these are the things that will be on our columns. Then we have the rows. The rows are the horizontal parts, row by row, row by row. That's row, 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 row. And each of them represents an item or an instance or a person or an event. Are you following? So if you look at the definition at this side here where we have the image, you will notice that I have there the three columns and two rows. So the name of this table, let's assume, is customer table. Now, in the customer table, I have three metrics that I am measuring. I need to know the name of my customer. I need to know the age of my customer. And I need to know the sales, what the customer has sold. Or let me even change it again. Let's say this is sales executive that table. So I can say this is the name of the sales executive, this is the age of the sales executive, and this is how much the sales executive have sold, right? So everything under name will always be name, 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 name. Anything under name will always be what? Name, 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 name. Alice is a name. Bob is a name. Abdullah is a name. Eniola is a name. Promise is a name. Michael is a name. Richard is a name. And the name. So everything you're going to be seeing on name should only be names. Then the other side is what? Is age. So in age now, we know that the age is the age of the person. So that means I am measuring the age of the person. Somebody here is 28 years old. The second person is 35 years old. The next person is 40 years old. The next person is 19 years old. The next person is 28 years old. And it goes down like that. Then on the third column, you can see I have the sales right? Which is the amount this person has sold, or the amount of revenue this person has generated, or the amount the person has brought into my company. That is what we have at the sales part. So you can see for somebody brought $1,200, another person brought $950, another person brought $9,000, another person bought $1 million, another person bought $1 billion, like I saw in my dream yesterday night. Yeah, if wishes were horses, I know, I know, I know, I know, I understand. Don't worry. Oh, I understand. Back to class. So, but that is the columns. Now, a row, like I told you, is now an instance that represents all the data that we have measured, all the stuff that we want to measure for one single event, or one single person, or one single instance. So marrying it together is, so for a row, the first row is Alice, 38, 1,200. The next row is Bob, 35, 950. If we don't have these column names here, we might necessarily not understand what we have here. So that is why the two of them have to work together. The row and the column must work together. So to bring everything together to give a meaning to this table. What does that mean? It now means that what you are saying, that Alice is 28 years old and she was able to bring in $1,200 into the company. You can see I have made mention of everything about a sales executive. So you need to also be able to marry all of them together, and that is what your table, your rows, and your column, the relationship with all of them. That is how it works together. Then we have Bob. Bob is actually a 35-year-old person who have actually brought in or generated a revenue of $950. So you can see these are the rows. Okay. So these are the rows and these are the columns. So these are the rows and these are the columns. So we have 3 columns and 2 rows. 3 columns and 2 rows. So that is what we have there. So let us look at an example. So if you look at this now, we have tried to make it more bigger now. So this is about a customer. This is a customer table. So I would like to ask a question. How many columns do we have here? Or how many fields are we measuring? How many fields are we measuring here? How many things are we measuring? Yes, you can see we are measuring 4 things. We want to know the customer ID, 1. We want to know the name of the customer, 2. We want to know the city the customer is joining us from, or patronizes us from, or is living in, 3. I want to know the sales amount of the customer. So those are the 4 things that we have. So we have 4 things that we're measuring. And in our data set, how many instances, or how many people, or in this case, how many customer information do we have, everybody? 5. Perfect. So you can see we have 5 instances, 5 customers. The first person is 001, as the customer ID 001. The name of the person is what? Alice. The city is New York City. The person spent a total of $1,200. The next person is Bob in Los Angeles, who have spent $950. The last person that we have there is who? Is Eve, who is also from Los Angeles, but this time around spent a total of what? $1,100. So the same way that you are seeing it here, that you have it in smaller, that's very small. You have just 5 columns, 4 columns and 5 rows. It's the same way you're going to have it when you have it like 10 columns and 50 rows, or 10 columns and a million rows, or 20 columns and a billion rows. The ideology is still the same thing. But once you understand it at this simple level, when you start adding them, yes, very good. So start adding them to it, they become what? They become, you understand them better. Once they are starting to add to it, since you find you understand the relationship that comes with your what? Your tables and your columns and your row, you know how to marry all of them together, and everything is going to what? Is going to be okay. So asking a question, so let's take it. So somebody is saying, is it possible to interchange the item for the column, like putting the name and other information? Oh, you should turn it like this. No, yeah, it is possible, but analytically, it will not make sense for you, because when you're performing analytics, majority of the formulas you're going to be using are done on a column basis, and least of them are done on a row basis. So if you turn it the other way around, it would not really make sense for you. You are going to be seeing it as a project. No, today, just to balance all this, because when I start showing you Power BI, when I start showing you rows and column, I will not want to come and say, this is a row again, this is a column. You already know what they are and how they are operating. Are you following me? Good. I think that's a very good question asked by Emmanuel, I think. Richard. Good. So let's proceed. So that is an example of. So the next thing we're going to now talk about quickly is for us to move over to what we talk about clean and messy data. You see, I had a presentation before this that I wanted to use. That was very, very graphical, but I decided to stick with this very simple one. That one, okay. Yes, I already responded that it was a variable. Yes, I already did look at. Okay. So we have clean data, we have messy data. Now, there's a reason why I'm talking about this at the beginning, because you need to quickly know them before we start working with them. That there are some things called clean data and there are some things called messy data. Before I go to, okay, so let's take it one after the other. So first we have the clean data side of things. Data, usually, all of us have to first make the assumption in our mind that any new data that I want to work with automatically is a dirty data. I repeat, any new data we want to work with, we should have it in our mind that what? That data is not clean. We might need to do one or two things. We might need, in Power BI terminology, we would say we might need to do what? We might need to transform the data. We might need to clean the data. We might need to take hypo, jig, and wash the data and make sure that data is very, very clean. Are you following? You might need to put the data in a washing machine and roll it for 10 spins for it to be clean. So we need to do all this with the data. Now, when do we say data is clean? There are some things we need to first note. First of one being that you need to make sure that across all the data points, when I mean data points, the same thing as columns. Across all the columns, you need to make sure first that they are consistent formatting there. So when I say consistent formatting, that means that what? The data type for each and every of the entries into each and every of into each in and every of the column must be what? Must be the same thing. Into each and every of the column must what? Must be the same thing. So you need to make sure that the format is what? Is correct. 1 minute. One minute, please. Okay. Okay. So let's continue. So now you need to make sure that it's consistent. So if this column is saying, for example, let's go back to the former this thing. So you can see here we have customer ID. Now you have 001, 002, 003. Everything here are numbers. We should see that what there is a consistency across board. They are all numbers. That is what we're talking about. In this column, you notice that what Alice, Bob, Carol, David, there is a consistency of letters, right? City, there is a consistency. Sales, there is a consistency. Now you see this place here. Some clients can say this is not consistent, while some can say it is consistent. Whatever one you believe, but to me, a bit it is still consistent. Why do I say that? You can see that all others are using their what? Their short code, isn't it? But here it's using the full name. So why is it not CHC? Why is it Chicago in full? You can see. So don't just make sure that you understand the standard for each and every one of them, and then you work with the what? With the standard. So now, another thing is that what you need to understand to make sure that there is no blank data. You need to make sure that what? That there is no blank data. You need to make sure that there is no blank data. So blank data is that one place is missing, another place is missing, another place is missing. It makes your data very, very dirty, and you might not really give a proper analytics at the end of the day. And also, you need to make sure that we don't have duplicate data. You don't have duplicate data. So duplicate data can be in form of maybe a column duplicating itself, or a row duplicating itself. So it might be a column. Let's say you have dates again. You need to make sure that you confirm that the two dates are not the same, or you change the column header. You need to make sure that the rows are not duplicating as well. Majority of people, they usually only care about row duplication. Sometimes you could have column duplication. So you need to make sure that columns are not duplicated, rows as well are not what? Are not duplicated. And that is where we know we have a clean data. And usually it's also good to know that we have the correct spellings. For example, you could have um, somebody spelling Chicago, or somebody spelling it in CHC, and that spelling. You are going to see an example which I had already prepared for that. So you need to make sure that there is a format that is used from up to down, from top to bottom, right? That format, let it be consistent across. Also, you need to make sure that the right data types are used. Now, we should not mix data type with format. For format, it is that it is correct though, but you did not use the right one. For example, I told you earlier, Chicago and NYC. Chicago and NYC. We have Chicago, we have NYC, right? Chicago is in full. NYC is not in full, but they are both correct. The format is not the same thing. Or you could have a date that somebody is writing the dates as 2023 minus 10 minus 15, right? Another person is now writing 10 slash 15 slash 2023. You can see that the two of them are dates, but they are not in the what? In the consistent formatting. That's why I can see on the other side of my table, you have the messy data there, where I told you we have mixed formats, right? Somebody can just write October alone, or October 15. You can look for the dates yourself. You can look for the year yourself. Another person you can even, so you can write, people are writing things. If I give you guys a form now to fill, if I give you a form to fill now, I'm very sure that when you are returning that form back to me, we're going to be seeing all these things in action. Is sure for me die. Because that is how we are. So that is why I said from inception, you don't assume that what data is very, very correct. Now, another thing about messy data is you should know that what when you're having a field of numbers, there should not be text there and everything. So why is it important that we understand the concept of clean data and messy data? We need to understand the concept because whatever we give, the data that we feed into the what? Into Power BI, is actually the result is going to be based on that. When we are cooking our jollof rice, if we had used bad oil, bad or vegetable oil or soya oil to cook that jollof rice, it will not go very well. If you did not put, if you did not do your omiaro very, very well, right? Your the salt, the way the rice will come out might not be too good. If you did not add the right amount of salt, or you use birisope salt, or you use bad rice, right? The rice that has stone inside of it, if that is what you use to cook the jollof rice, is the jollof rice going to come out properly? No. So you need to understand all these things very, very well. And because in data, garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you put into it is whatever you are going to get. So part of what we are also going to be learning as we proceed is how to clean data, how to look at when you see a data like this, you know exactly how to clean it and what it is that you need to do. We're going to be having a session on that as well. So let's go on. So please, I hope we are following and be understanding what we're talking about. Okay, so somebody has to ask a question. How do we undo blank missing data, especially in large data set? Yes, I know you are running. No worry. There's still a session on cleaning data, right? But there are different methods. Everybody have different philosophy, ideology. Some people will tell you ignore, depending on how much of data that you have, clock it. Some people will tell you with numerical data, find the average of everything and replace that stuff with the averages. Some people will just say, delete the data entirely, the column entirely. Some people will say, I've given you 3 examples. The 3 examples are very, very valid. So that's why you need to know when to use which. We are going to get there later, don't worry. Some people will say, okay, just represent the blank data with 0. You can see, or no data, or null, valid. I gave how many examples? How many ways now? 4 ways. And the 4 of them are very, very valid. The usage are different. So when we get to how to clean data, which I'm going to be getting to very soon, I think this time next week or probably we should be getting there. We're going to do what? You see how that plays in action. Is that okay, everybody? Are we understanding? Are we following? Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So let's proceed. Now, let's do this. Now, you see what we have in front of you right now is a very, very good example for what? For the data, messy data. And this is how data is usually going to be when they are working with it, especially data that are coming from, let's say, format from essays, I said essays, forms, all this type of data that are with human interaction, that the human interaction is very, very high. So those type of data, basically, are going to be doing what? You're going to be seeing stuff like this. Let's go with it. Let's take it one after the other. So in the customer ID is looking like what? Is meant to be in form of numbers. So we are good on that. Everything is in numbers, isn't it? 0, 1, 2, 3. We are good. We are taking data type first. Second one is name, all in text. Third one is city, all in text. Fourth one is what? Sales. This, 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 this. The first 3 are in numbers, but the last one is not in number. 1 error. In terms of data sets, 1 error. Abi? 1 wahala. Let's go again. The fourth one is date. They are all in date, but this one is missing. So in terms of data sets, in terms of data type, right? In terms of data type, we have agreed that all the data types, the only place where we have issues of data type is in sales, where we have ABC, which is a number, a textual data in a place where we're supposed to have numerical data. Are we following? Good. Now, the next thing now is, take a look. We've talked about the format. The next one is blanks or what? Or duplicates. So let's go again. Let's check. Now, do we have any blank here? Yeah, we have blank in dates. This is another error, another wahala. The third one is duplicates. We can see here we have 002 Bob LA 950 October. 002 again, Bob again, LA again. This time around, it was smart enough to say, okay, I want it to be different. I'm going to add dot here. I will add dot there. And instead of me to write $950, I will just write 950 so that it will disturb the person that is working with the data and think they are different. Whereas the two rows, are they different or are they the same, everybody? Tell me, are they different? They are the same. So we can see that what? They are what? They are the same. So we can see that they are the same. So this is an example of a duplicate. It's looking as though it's not duplicate because why? This place have dots there. This one does not have currency and this one is empty. But if we are looking at it intrinsically, this is how you use your eyes as a data person. LA here, still LA. $950, 950 is still $950. Then October 2023, this one is not having anything. So it's probably going to also be October 2023. Are you with me? So that is this. The next one is, in this place, there is no more, there is no what's it called? There is no this. Another thing is also is that you should see that what the customer ID is the same thing, duplicate. The name is the same thing. Each and every one of them is the same thing. That's why you should know that this is entirely a duplicated what? A duplicated data. So you need to understand that fact from now. Please, are we following everybody? Are we understanding how I'm breaking it down? Is it clear enough? Let's call people, let's call names. Okay, I can see quite a lot of us. We're getting it. Amina, are you with me? Okay. Edith is saying, but there's difference. Okay, Edith, what is the difference? Tell me. Let me hear from you. Yeah.
Okay, Mr.
Edith,
Bankole, good evening. Well done, sir.
good evening. Yes.
Yeah, okay, what I noticed is there is no dollar sign in the sales.
Yeah, there's dollar here. There's no dollar here, right?
Yes, then the city
yes, but
there is still,
there's dots. So
yes.
So if you look at it very well, to look as though they are not the same. I mean, as though they are not the same, that they are different, isn't it? But LA is still LA as a city. And 950 under sales is still $950. Because if we look at the very good data that we have, the first one up, we notice that there is no dollar there.
Yes, sir.
Are you still with me, Edit?
Yes, sir.
So that means two things can happen. Is either that when they were filling this form in, right, the person started with this smaller one, the one under, and I thought, you have made mistake. Oh, okay, let me go and change it. And you cannot make edit. You have to run the transaction again. That is when the person now did it again and put this one that is up there. And still at that, the person still made mistake again. Or it might not be mistake, it's just the way it is. And then it is now on you as a data analyst, as somebody who is going to work with Power BI, to make sure that this 950, either you correlate everything to have the same $950, or you remove the dollar entirely. You get that, Eddie?
Okay, yes, sir.
Exactly. So good. So what else? You're welcome. So what other issues do we have here? So yes, we talked about issues earlier. So here you have LA, which is consistent format. So LA should stand like LA, let everything be the same thing. Now you can see Chicago is now Chi alone. You can see. So what else do we have? Wrong data type. Yes. So you have ABC here showing under numbers where numbers are meant to be. So you have different consistency. Look at what I was telling you about dates earlier. So you can see here you have 10/15/2023, October 15, 2023. Here you have October 2023. Here you still have it again. The three of them are looking different, even though they are the same. But Power BI is going to treat all of them differently. These two might give you error, that this one will give you correct one, or this one will give you error, and these two will give you correct thing, or this one will be the only one that will be correct, and the remaining two will be error. So you need to make sure that you have a consistent format for your data type. It is very, very, very important. Is that understood, everybody? If you are following me, everybody, can I say F in the chat box? Perfect. So that is how it is. Let's put F in the chat box. Good. Thank you. Wonderful. That's good. Now, the next thing I will now do now is what? 1 minute. Okay, so let's go. Now, so before we start visualizing, before we do all the beautiful things that we used to do, that we used to see on Power BI, what are the things that as a data analyst you need to look out for or you need to do? Right? So you need to explore your data very, very well. Now, the first place to start from is that you need to make sure that all the data that you need, you have them ready, available from where you need them. The other time we talked about sources. I told you that the sources are where the data is in. The sources can be a Excel file, it can be a CSV file, it can be from a database somewhere, it can be from a website, it can be an API, it can be even an AI, it can be anything. So you need to bring the data in. The process of you bringing the data into Power BI is what we call loading of the data. What you call it, what? Load the data, bring the data in. Or they say extract the data. If you are talking in terms of ETL, extract, transform, and load. The next thing is once you have loaded the data in, you first extract from the data source, you transform, and then you load. Or you bring in the data by loading it in, you are not going to transform it. What does transformation now, what does it what does it entails is you inspecting the structure of the data you have brought in. Number one, what does that mean? Power BI allows you to know the number of columns, the number of rows that you have in that data automatically without you counting anything. That's number one. Number two is that once you know the number of columns that are there, you can also, one way or the other, check for values or blanks across. Power BI, a very wonderful tool, can do this for you as well automatically, unlike Microsoft Excel that some of you are familiar with. It can just go through everything and then knows, oh, this one is missing, this one is missing, this is the percentage of missing data in the whole of data set and everything like that. Another thing is in transformation is that what? You find duplicates. So you can look for duplicates in your data set. You can look at the duplicates, find them, clean them, either you delete them or you remove them or whatever you're going to do with them. Are you following? Then the next one is you validating the type of data. Some school of thought, immediately after they've inspected the structure, the next thing they do is to validate the type of data that is there, especially that stubborn boy called dates, to make sure that the dates are in the original format. They are in the format that they are meant to be in. Are you following? And then from there, some of us used to quickly do some summary statistics. If we find the average, the minimum, the maximum. So one thing about Power BI, when we are going to be doing all this data loading, right, before we go into visualization, it can be done automatically. You're not writing any code. You're just pressing plug and play. You're just pressing chakam. When you press chakam like this, it gives you everything at the same time. And then you spot outliers, unusual things. For example, this outlier is very, very important. as well, especially for beginners. What does outlier mean? An outlier is, this is one example of outlier self. Let me show you. The one we had here that had dollars in front. Every other one was having number, 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 number. All of a sudden, this one has dollar in front. That's an example. Another example is you are noticing that everybody was spending 100 naira, $100, $200, $500, and all of a sudden you just saw one person that had $1 million in sales. $1 million. How is that possible? Or you're looking at the age of people. You saw the age of people. We're saying 25, 35, 45. All of a sudden you saw 2 years old. You saw ordinary two under the age, or you saw 205 on that age. Is it possible? They are correct, but is it possible? Do you see that now? It is correct, but is it possible? That's what an outlier is. You need to look into it. Oh, you go back into it. Is it possible that this person is actually 2-year-old and is buying something from my store? Or is it possible that this person actually spent 10 million and is not somebody doing magomago somewhere? Are you following me? So that's what outlier is. So all these things, as data analyst or as for somebody using Power BI, somebody into data, you need to understand how all of them work together. Once you understand these 7 things in your mind, every other thing becomes easy for you. And this is what we call data exploration. Whether it is Power BI, you use it, whether it's Tableau, whether it's Excel, whether it's R, whether it's Python, right? All these things that we have brought together like this, they are what we need to look at before we start doing anything. I hope you are following everybody. Good. Now, this is it for you. This is a checklist that I have dedicated for you. You can screenshot it, you can use it. So whenever we're having a data, what do? You check the rows, you check the columns, you check if it is missing. You can say I put percentage blank there. When we get to that bridge, I will tell you why I put percentage blank there. That is, you need to know the percentage of the blank data for you to say there have to be a certain percentage that your data must be. If it is blank, for you to say, oh, I want to delete that row, or I want to delete that column, or that column is useless. So you need to know the percentage blank. I'll show you how Power BI does all that. You need to also make sure that the duplicates, you decide, okay, am I keeping the duplicates or am I removing them? And also the data type, is it correct? Especially numbers. Remember that school of thought that I told you I have. If the numbers cannot be calculated, I cannot be, you cannot perform arithmetic operation on them, you change them to what? Text. You don't leave them as numbers. Then your summary of your data in form of average, mean, mark, sum, count, everything. And you check your outliers. So this is a checklist for you that you all can what? You can work with. Now, so why is it important that you prepare your data? Why is it important that you prepare your data? This is an example of a visualization that we're going to be doing in Power BI. You can see here, we have the wrong data because one, we have one NYC, New York City, it has its report. Then you look at this one, this place is empty. There is nothing there. And aside from it being empty, it is having a negative. Can somebody spend minus 1,000? You can see. So that is an outlier as well. And it's not even an outlier, it's giving us headache. And then, after as nice as this day report was looking, this rubbish here or this bad data here spoiled everything for us. Then if you look at this side, a clean data, you can see NYC, Chicago, LA. You can see how much each and every one of them are spoiled. And with it, we can actually trust the data that we are doing because it gives us, we have an accurate insight. And one thing that you should know as a data analyst is that 80% of your time as a data professional, you will spend it cleaning data. That's one thing. The remaining one is for visualization because once your data is clean, your visual, very sweet. Once the data is clean, your visual is going to be very, very easy to do. Every other thing you're going to do in Power BI, you just be dragging and dropping, dragging and dropping. But when there's an issue of messy data, you go back again. Okay, how did I change this one? Okay, this one is like this. What do I do? Okay, this. So that's why we tell you that before you start anything, your first point of interaction is to make sure that that your data is cleaned properly before you load it in for visualization. Then from there, we've come to the end of what we're discussing about today. Now, today we're able to talk about raw ingredients, what data is all about. We talked about tables, we talked about columns, we talked about how we bring all of them together. Then we talk about how to clean data, how to fix messy data, and for you to be able to fix messy data before you visualize them. And then we talk about what you need to always do before you load in your data, by inspecting it, by summarizing it, by clearing it. Once you understand everything that we have here, then you are ready for Power BI. So I think that's all we have for today. So I don't know if you have any question for me. If you have any question for me, then you could take the questions and then we can call it a day and meet on Thursday evening. So do we have any question? So you can just raise your hands, then I'll call you, and then we could take it from there. So let's go. So I have somebody's raising their hand. I have Edith. Yes. Talk to me, Edith.
Okay, Mr. Bankole, good evening. Not really a question. Please, can you just put on the last slide? I was jotting some things down.
This one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other person? Richard, you've raised your hands.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Thank you
Good
so
evening,
much
Mr.
for
Richard.
this. Yeah, thank you so much for the
You're
session
welcome,
today.
sir.
So, no more
You're
of a
welcome,
question,
sir.
right? I just wanted to clarify when are the dates for the classes? Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
get
okay.
what you
So
said regarding classes.
okay, so our classes are usually every Tuesdays and Thursdays as agreed by everybody. The classes are going to be for 1 hour each. So everybody agreed, not me now, that instead of us having a 2 hour in a week class, we could have it as 1 hour in a week. So that way everybody is following step by step and people are not too lazy to go over to the recording. You know, we have a 2 hour recording to watch. It's usually bogus, right? So for those that are not able to be in class, when the ask is just 1 hour, okay, they'll just quickly go watch it within 30 minutes. They can skip and everything, and then they are good. I hope I've been able to answer your question. The time is the same thing for the same day, but just Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's all the same time, same Google Meets, everything. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Mr. Richard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Another person? Yes, I know everything we're doing is still very, very simple. So I know we're going to have little to no questions, but it's good that we're all here, we're all learning, and we are good. So remember, we're all good. We talked about understanding data in analytics today, and what data is all about: rows, columns, tables, clean data, messy data, how you prepare your visuals. So thank you very much, everyone, for staying tuned today. I really appreciate you turning up. I believe that this is actually not a waste of your time at all. You're really learning. Most of us are beginners, and I'm very sure that by the time in the next few weeks, few months, we're going to see how better and good that we are. So just let's take it slowly as we're going. Make sure you share. I'm going to be sending you the recording quite soon. So please remember to share the recording, share the video. The WhatsApp is open for people to join in at any time. Don't worry, the more the merrier. So we are good. So maybe after when we get to February or maybe mid-February, I might just decide to just block it. But if you have other people that you feel that they should come and learn about data, Power BI is free. Anybody can join, anybody can learn, and let's go on the journey together. This is 2026, quite a lot of things to do, quite a lot of things to learn. So thank you very much, everyone, for staying tuned, and do have a wonderful midnight. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye, Mr. Bankole.
Bye.